On behalf of the Whittlesea Interfaith Network, I'm interviewing people, women in particular, because we are holding an event on the 10th of February entitled Women of Faith, Footsteps to Whittlesea. So we're starting that story off with your story, Sister Maureen.
My name's Maureen Delaney. I'm a parishioner of the Catholic parish of Christ the Light. And that's an umbrella for a number of parishes: St Joseph's Mernda, St Joseph's Doreen, St Mary's Whittlesea, Kinglake.
Now, Sister Maureen, your journey takes a different track to other people that we're interviewing, but yours is very interesting nevertheless, so we'd love to hear a bit about your story in the faith.
Well, thinking about right now, who am I here? I'm a parishioner of the Catholic parish of Christ the Light, which takes in Whittlesea, Kinglake, Mernda and Doreen and surrounding areas. And as well as that, I belong to the Sisters of Charity of Australia, a group of women who were invited here to Australia in 1838 to be with the women convicts. So I've got a great band of women with whom I minister and live throughout Australia. Mainly we've been in healthcare, St Vincent's hospitals in the capital cities, the smaller hospitals and outreach in healthcare, in colleges and schools, Catholic Ladies College, CLC at Eltham here in this area is one. It's one of the original schools of Melbourne. It used to be in East Melbourne, and about 40-50 years ago it was transferred out here, out here to Eltham, as were a few other colleges like, and I can't think what they are, Parade College in Plenty Road, and along Bridge Inn Road, the big college there.
Sister Maureen, can you just tell us where your journey began in this faith?
Well, as a family, the Catholic faith was very significant as I grew up as a child. Mum and Dad were very committed to church and church going, and as were our family friends. I grew up in Brunswick, within the Catholic parish of St Fidelis Moreland. And when I went to school, it was with family friends and people I knew. I was born in 1938, and as a child was raised with my 3 brothers and sister. We went to the local Catholic primary school. Secondary school, I got on the bus in Albion Street and went across to St Columba's College in Essendon. Our lives at home were pretty simple. We were growing up during the Second World War and then the Depression years, and Mum and Dad were very caring and loving of us at those times and always. When I left school, after I did my matriculation, I was working with the Department of Civil Aviation in the public service. And I was enjoying a great social life among my many friends. But always within me there was something else that I felt I was missing out on something. There was something I had to find. And thinking about it, I kept going back in my mind and memory to the sisters who taught me at school. They inspired me and helped me, and somehow I wanted to be like them. And so I decided I had to at least give it a go and become one of them. And that's what I have done. So, since 1961 until 2021, I have been a Sister of Charity of Australia. I have lived in different states in the Ministry of Education, in schools, as a teacher. When I began teaching, there was a great need for science teachers, and somehow that's where I found myself. If I'd really had my choice, it would have been in English. English literature was my favourite area of study. But over the years I was science coordinator in colleges in New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. So I was teaching science right then for many years, learning. I was learning a lot on the way. And also I was doing my own studies, especially in spirituality, and doing part-time study work. As time went on too, I became more focused in this being a spiritual guide with individuals and groups. And I was part of pastoral and spirituality centres in New South Wales, in Tasmania, and in Victoria and Doreen. This is where I came. But it was a journey to that, as people were seeking me out and learning, and I was learning. Life is a lifelong journey of learning.
It is. And Sister Maureen, this journey's also taken you overseas, I believe.
Yes, on a number of occasions actually. Upgrading my learning, I suppose. Yes, qualifications, but more the experience of being with people. It's been a wonderful journey in being a spiritual guide of people coming, seeking support in their life journey, where I've been in a spirituality centre, as I have been in Doreen and in Launceston. Just the people coming for a day or an hour or a week, just to spend time in quiet and reflection and prayer, and being with the scriptures, searching their life and where they were and how they might upgrade, so to speak, how they might be more relaxed and more aware in their searching for God.
Sister Maureen, you've certainly given your whole life to this journey. Could you tell us what it's like being a sister of charity?
Let me start by, I joined the sisters back in 1959, and we had 2 years of training, of learning what it meant. So we did a lot of learning about prayer and the scriptures and the teachings of the church. And we were young women. Well, I was 20, and I guess the others with me would have been about the same age. And we had a group would enter at the beginning of February, another group would enter at the beginning of July. And so the numbers would be coming all the time, and as each group finished the 2 years, that you'd be going on to a different area of Sydney, and you'd be learning there what it was to be a teacher, and then going on from there being appointed to different schools.
Was it difficult leaving your family?
Oh yes, that was a huge decision to make, and so hard for them.
Yes.
And then probably it wasn't until many years later I realised just how hard it was for them. I was on the go, doing whatever, whereas they were far distant, and it was interstate. I had to go to Sydney. My family were in Melbourne, and they weren't able to visit me. There were certain days or times when I could have visitors. Yes, but they were the hard. And today it has changed a lot, going along with the needs of the time.
Were you dressed in a habit when you first started?
Yes, not like initially the first 6 months, no, but then we had the first ceremony where you receive the habit.
Oh.
And then I was living in a habit for many years. Until the 1970s, I think, we started changing and then moving into just the clothes of the people of the time. Like those habits that we wore, they were the clothes being worn at the time our foundress founded the order. So, you know.
So you don't actually retire, do you? You're a sister of charity until you die.
That's right, yes. Which is wonderful, really. The companionship of the sisters whom I have known over the years and go on knowing. And then the new ones coming along all the time, and they have lessened over the years, but there are still people searching and wanting to do it in a way similar to what I have done.
Well, many of us would find that very hard, but I can see you're very happy with that choice you made.
Yes, but it has been hard, and there are times still, I guess, when it's hard, but it's part of me now. I've grown into it, as I ought to have over, 60 years.
Is there anything else you wanted to tell us?
I think what I have told you has been a bit of a muddle. I don't know that it's coming out as well as it might.
And where did the journey of the Sisters of Charity begin?
It began in Cork, in Ireland. And again, it was a reaching out to the needs of the people, the poor, the time of the potato famine. There was so much poverty. And our foundress, Mary Aikenhead, gathered young women around her, and they were reaching out. And she founded the Order of the Sisters of Charity. When the convicts were were out here in Australia, the Archbishop of Sydney asked Mary Aikenhead if she would send some sisters to Australia to be with the women convicts. And we did that. Our sisters came here in 1838, and we've been here ever since. Certainly lifting the spirits and the lives of the women in the who were there as convicts. And today at Parramatta in Sydney and in Hobart in Launceston, there are wonderful places where we can see what was done, the wonderful memorials that are there, and like places showing the story of those years.
And I believe your family has a convict origin.
Yes, well, my great-grandfather was a convict. He came out to Hobart as a 14-year-old boy, and he was at Port Arthur until he was 30. I always say he got in with the wrong crowd. If he'd behaved himself, he could have been released much sooner. So he had those grueling years there. And then he was released for good behaviour and good conduct in helping bushfires when he was 30. He met Catherine, who had come out with her father from Ireland, and they were married and they had 11 children, the 8th one of whom came to Victoria to the goldfields, and my mother was one of his children. It's amazing.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
And so my family sort of have gone on from there. And my other grandparents came from Tipperary in Ireland. So I've got a strong Irish
background.
root.
Yeah. And what do you do nowadays?
I'm very present. Well, I today live in the retirement village at Mernda. So I'm living among senior people and just being there, being present, being companionable. I'm very much part of the local parish of St Joseph's in Mernda, and take part in activities and help lead various parts of the liturgy that we take part in each weekend. It's a very active place.
Well, that certainly is a very inspiring story, and I hope others find it just as interesting as I have found it. Thank you, Maureen.